Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Spy vs. Spy, brought to us by Kemco. Based off the Mad Magazine comic strip, Spy vs. Spy has you playing as one of the titular spies facing off against the other spy, going through 8 levels of an embassy where you must collect 5 objects on each one of the levels and make it to the exit in order to finish the stage. We're going to start off with level 1 and you'll get an idea immediately for what you need to do here. The screen is split with your screen on the top. There's the exit door. If you go there before you have the items, it's an instant death. The thing is though, you're immortal. You just lose a little bit of time if you end up losing a life. I quickly go around this area and pick up all 4 of the objects and get back to the exit. That quickly. Don't worry, we're going to be doing that the entire game, so you'll get a better sense of what exactly went on. There's 4 main items that you can see in the inventory on the right, with the 5th one being the briefcase. You must have the briefcase to pick up the money, so that's why you have 5 objects instead of just the 4 that are located in that little inventory screen. There's also weapons that can be located inside there, and sometimes, of course, if the enemy has placed it there, there may be a trap that will end up costing you some time and a life. Unfortunately, the ending is the same for every single level, so we'll be seeing that plain ending a bunch. As we begin level 2, we're going to start off immediately going and grabbing the briefcase, coming back and then grabbing the money. If we had tried to grab that right beforehand, it just would have been like nothing was there. Before I go into the next room, I'm going to stash my items inside of this one dresser, then pick up a weapon from this set of shelves and use it to take out the spy. This way you guys get an idea for the combat, as well as this will clear up the spy from the area and that we can get by safely without him grabbing any of our items. And as you can see, the last few items are located right around that same spot as well. Now we just have to make our way through the remaining rooms and to the exit to finish up level number 2. Funny enough, with Spy vs. Spy, there's actually several video games. This was released for many home computer systems of the time, as well as also received some ports for the Game Boy and later on the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. There was also a sequel made. In fact, there was 2 sequels, one with an island theme and another one with an Arctic theme, though those didn't see releases on the NES in North America. Just the second one saw a release on the Famicom, with the third one receiving only releases on computer systems. Each one of the levels adds more to the mix as far as just the overall length of the level with the amount of rooms, as well as things like entering into a second floor. Thankfully, there's only a possibility of 2 floors per level, so you don't have to worry about more than that, but some of the levels have the second floor broken up into multiple areas, so there's definitely some maze navigation you'll have to get used to as well while playing through the game. Be careful of the spy if he ends up catching up with you at this point. We're going to go up here and immediately make sure that the panel that allows us to use the ladder is closed. This way he won't follow us. The AI is not great. A lot of times it just moves around aimlessly, picking up a few objects if it gets in its way. Same thing as far as planting traps. The thing is though, it doesn't seem to remember a lot of times where it placed traps because it will then open up or use objects it just placed a trap in, losing itself a life. There's a lot of times where the AI, I'll just notice, has killed itself and my character starts laughing and I'm just like, okay, I guess I get a little bit more time to do whatever, though usually we're going to be taking paths where the AI doesn't even venture. Here we go with level number 4. This is another one that's just a single floor to deal with, but it's a bit of a bigger area. We're going to start off immediately by going and grabbing the key. There is the exit door. Just remember, of course, where that's located. We'll need it later on. Down here in this pink room is the briefcase. Pick up that. Then continue over to the left side through the next series of rooms. Be careful if you run into the spy. We do have to get rid of him. He picked up one of the objects that we need. So to deal with this, we're just going to let him take out himself. If he comes into the room with us, we're going to immediately leave. And then if he comes right back in, we're going to leave again. And usually by hugging the wall or just walking around, he will eventually plant a trap and use it on himself. And this will allow us to then go into the room and grab the object. Then back in here, grab the money bag, so now we have that, and just one more object left. We're going to have to do a little bit of backtracking, but we'll go into a room with a television, and that's the location of the last object that we need, and then we just have to get back to that door. We've now completed already the first 4 levels, but the second half of the game, the levels are longer, so especially the next one, which will take us a little bit of time, but it actually will feature the only time we intentionally lose a life during the course of the game, and it just makes things a bit easier by losing that life. As we begin level number 5, start off by heading to the left and immediately go up the ladder in the next room. As you notice, the spy starts off right next to us. We're going to head through the next series of rooms and pick up the object located here. This gives us a weapon. And then go into this room and go through the next few rooms. That room with the trap door that we're going to be using will actually be where we instantly die, because there are rooms in the game filled with poison, including this one, and we don't have enough time to get out of the room since it counts as soon as you enter, and it's very slow moving on the ladder, so you end up losing a life, and it's seemingly like impossible not to end up losing that life in doing that. But also by getting the object where we need and such, it allows us not to have to travel as far back. We don't have to go back through a few rooms. Also, we picked up the weapon, which we get to keep and use it immediately on the spy, so we can get rid of him, and this will allow us to pick up the object and then get back up the ladder in his room and continue down our path. Now, I'll show you right here, we can't pick up the object yet. Once we go and get the other objects, we can come back and pick up the one that's located now there. Head up here and then up another one of the ladders to the second floor. Here you'll end up finding the briefcase located next to another one of those hatches. We're going to ignore it. Go into the next room, grab the key from the shelves, and before going back down the ladder, grab the money now that we have the briefcase. From there, just do the backtracking to that room that we already were at, the one where we died from poison earlier, which is the location of that item we had left off, and go to the exit to finish up level number 5. Level number 6 is a pretty confusing little maze for sure. It actually also looks a little bit like a face there with the way that the level is set up. I'm going to start off immediately by grabbing the key and then continuing through the next few rooms. Ignore the ladder in this room. And get the briefcase from this little shelving unit right there. Then backtrack to that ladder you just saw a few moments before. From that point, go into the room to the right, and you'll find yourself another item located inside of the television. Go through these rooms until you find a pink room with a ladder. Immediately once you go up the ladder, go back down so you avoid the poison. If you notice any time where I go into a room and immediately back out, sometimes it's by accident, but more than likely it's because it was poison. You may not even notice it that quickly because your face is blue, and it's only a matter of seconds before you end up choking to death. So you gotta be careful. Though it's funny, it immediately is dissipated as soon as you leave the room and come right back in. The other spy took himself out, and also one thing to worry about during this level is the spy will sometimes pick up one of the objects and move it. Thankfully, it's a very easy location. Right there, for example, we now know on the bottom screen, since it left a trap there, it used that same shelf again, the same set of drawers, and we now know the location, thankfully, right there, of the last object. And that was actually something I was really worrying about going through the run because I wasn't sure where it was going to be located. Sometimes I've had it moved on me quite a bit, but with that last death of his, that was the indicator. Only 2 more levels left to go, level 7 and 8, and we start off here, level 7, we're going to go into this room, watch out for the other spy, and immediately go up the ladder and grab the first of the items. In the next room, it's immediately going to be one of those ones we leave because of the poison. Then go through a couple of rooms till you make it to another one with a ladder that leads down back to the first floor. Work your way left and around until you make it to a split where you're going to go right, and then into a purple room. When you make it to the purple room, pick up the briefcase. Remember this room, we will need it later. That purple room, that white room right after it that I went in for just a second. We're going to be heading there later on in the run. Before then though, we're going to go through these series of rooms, making it to this brown room with another ladder that leads upwards. You can go either left or right here. We're going to go left, and immediately in the first little object, use that and you'll find yourself the money. In this area, we're going to make our way quite a bit around. Be very careful when you make it to the purplish pink room that you watch out for the poison, but then go back in and grab the key located inside of the television. Now we need to do a little bit of backtracking in order to make it to the last object, the secret paper. The other object that we already have picked up, the passport, is the one that's the upper left object with the little plane on it. It's a little bit hard to see, but that's actually supposed to be a passport. Making it back to that white room from earlier, we'll make it to the actual exit door, but before we go through there, go into the right door where you'll find the secret paper, and then go back into the previous room to finish up the level. We now have 1 more level left to go. For the final level here, start off by immediately going and picking up the passport from the chest of drawers. Go inside here, immediately exit though, watching out for the poison before going back into the pink room with the ladder. We're going to travel through the next couple of rooms and then find the briefcase located inside of the TV. When you make it to this green door, make sure you go to the left now. Make sure before we go through the next door and down the ladder that we stop and pick up the secret papers from the shelf, then head down the ladder. Be careful if the other spy is in your way as you're making your way through the next couple of rooms here. A lot of times they will activate the poison and the like in rooms and end up losing lives while we're just walking around. Located here is the money bag. From there, go back. Gonna go around here and go to this TV where we'll find the key. You could get the key or the money first, either one. I ended up passing the key the first time, so I had to do a little bit of backtracking, but either way, make sure that you get both objects, and now we just have to make it to the exit door to finish up the game. Thankfully, the other spy won't be able to catch up with us or anything like that. Just have to make our way through the maze of rooms until we make it to that door. Be careful though, if any of the rooms have poison, that one does, and then the one right after it does as well. There's the exit though. He ends up losing a life right at the end here. There it is, level 8 complete. Get to see the ending one more time. There is no credit screen or any reward for completing all of the levels, which is a bit disappointing, but either way, that is all of the levels of Spy vs. Spy on the NES. As we see the other spy go up into the heavens once again, that's going to wrap up this episode of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.